Islam, welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. First, I give praise and honors. I give praise to the great God of love, the Father of the universe. I give honor to his last and holy prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to each and every one of you. I give honor to man. I also want to give honor to those who reached out to me on behalf of my mother and due to my birthday, all the birthday love and honors that you all had extended to me. I felt it. Thank you so, so, so much. Tonight, our topic is uh, building relationships. So I'm going to turn it over to Sister Reverend.
Islam. Thank you so much, Sister Gabrielle. I rise, give praise to Allah, and I give honor to Prophet Noah and everything the sister just mentioned. We are here, and I have a question to start our conversation today around building relationships. And the first question is, what is the first friendship that you remember having?
Islam. For me, the first relationship that I would say I remember is with my mother. For I believe it was 8 years, it was just me and her. And so I had a little brother. So that was like, my bestie. Wherever she went, I wanted to go. And it would be deep because she would always have someone bring me like to her job. And, normally you think that if your parent is working or something, let them work. But she would always send for me like, oh, you can bring her where I'm at. And it was just, those are one of the things, the fondest memories I have of the relationship with my mom. Praise Allah.
Praise Allah.
I agree. And also with my siblings. Those they were my first friends. And yeah, so I would say mom and my siblings.
Yeah, definitely. Praise Allah.
Islam, I would say the girl next door, Veronica. Um, we lived next door to each other practically our whole lives, and she was my friend up until she had a little sister. But that was my first friend I remember.
Wow.
Islam, I can't forget my first childhood friend. What an experience. I remember we lived in an apartment and she smacked me. One day we was on the front and, I never liked fighting. And I never understood why she smacked me, but I was so determined to be her friend. And we had a strange friendship. But I never held that smack against her. I never forgot it, but I never held it against her. So I would have to say that was my first friendship because she was the first person that I really would play with and everything. But for whatever reason, she would treat me mean and I didn't understand it. And our families were close. But yeah, that was my first friendship. So it was a wild experience.
To add on to that, I just have to ask her, well, what did you learn? What did you learn in that friendship? What was there to learn?
Well, today that people can be mean for no apparent reason. Yeah, that's about it. That people can be mean. People can be cruel for no reason at all. And I don't know, maybe to her she had a reason. I just to this day never knew what it was. So and didn't even know that I was turning the other cheek back then. Maybe not for spiritual reasons, but all for the reasons that I just wanted to be liked by her. You know what I'm saying? That she was really the only kid that I knew in the neighborhood at the time. Both our families were new in the neighborhood, so it was just me and her. And I just ain't understand it, but I did learn that people could be mean. Not all, but some can.
That's right. Praise Allah.
Just had a quick question on that. Do you think that it's a learned behavior? Because I think at times when we're dealing with relationships and sometimes things are unexpected, is it safe to say that they didn't know any better?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Because we were kids.
Yeah.
And I know bullying was out back then. So I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? I really don't, to this day, don't know what it was, but it's a possibility that it could have been learned behavior. And she might not even have understood why.
Right.
At the time.
Right.
I'm quite sure if I was to talk to her about it today, she'd probably be like, girl, I don't even know.
Right. Exactly.
I have a question to that as well. Do you think that incident may or may not have set the tone for other relationships that followed?
Good question.
For me, I don't think. And I
Praise God.
say that because I don't know if you heard me earlier when I said I didn't even hold that against her. I was still determined to be her friend.
That's what made me ask the question.
Yeah, and even after growing up and still even in elementary to middle school, I still had those, some more experiences like that. So it didn't change. I still wanted, you know what I'm saying? I still was me. That's just who I was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hold it against you, and I ain't think about what other people said about the fact that took place. I don't know. Back in the day, they would have been like, "Oh, you soft," or "You let her carry you," or whatever. And I'm sure I heard all that, but oh well, So
Praise our Lord.
until Mama got involved and she was off, you got one more time to come in this house. So once somebody hit you, you either gonna get hit by me or hit by them. Which one is gonna be? I said, well, I'll get hit by them.
That was the answer.
My
back
father had
then.
a big hand, so
that's old school for you. That's
That
old.
was the anthem back
That definitely
then.
is. Wow.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Let's keep moving.
Okay.
I'm going to ask a question. Give me 1 second. I'm having a problem with the question. How do you rebuild relationships that has been tainted? Wow. I ask it again. How do you
speak to that? It's long. I can speak to that because even today, I've experienced some relationships, even some friendships, even as an adult, where as though and because now I know better, and what I mean by that is, if I know for sure I haven't done anything, then I just leave it to Allah. I just let him have his way with that relationship, whether it's going to be or not be. And I just have to be all right with it. Now, if it's a relationship that I myself may have caused it to be tainted, I have absolutely no problems with making amends. And whatever it turns out to be, even after, because sometimes we can make amends and the people might not be receptive to the amends making. So I definitely don't have a problem with making the amends where I'm wrong. Sometimes, and I remember asking the Grand Sheik one time, why, well, I cry sometimes in the process, in the act of making amends. And I don't know if it's because the flesh wants to do otherwise and the spirit is willing to do what's right. I don't know what that is, or if I'm just sincerely feeling bad about coming out of character or whatever I did that may or may not have upset the person or offended the person or what have you. But I know most of the time when I recognize and I see where I was wrong, I really feel bad about it. I really do, because I know what that feels like. So to make somebody else feel that way, I don't like it. So I get emotional when I make my amends. And I know they probably look at me like, why is she crying? But that's just me. I'm very emotional, like, and y'all know that already. Y'all peep that about me, but I am. So I don't know. Allah gave me that.
Sister, can you reread that question for me, please? I just
So
want to
it,
hear it again.
yeah, it says, give me a second. How do you rebuild a relationship that has been tainted?
It's hard. I have tried to do it. All I know is that I have been the one that's been willing to forgive. But what I've learned in the process is that if I'm going to move forward, to bring the issue back up is just um, a waste of time. Either you're gonna move forward or you're not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can be difficult, especially when you start to see the same behaviors that cause the relationship to be rift to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would run. Like I'm a run. I called myself used to be a runner. Like I don't have to deal with certain stuff, blah blah blah. And I would use the term a runner. Well, now I just
Mm-hmm.
say that I allow what I want to have in my life and what I don't want in my life. And
Right.
if what is in my life is making me unhappy, disturbing my peace, making me cry, making me not eat, making me lose sleep, making my hair fall out. These are things that really take place with people when they
True.
are trying to rebuild a relationship that has been
Yeah.
tainted. Um, it's up to me, and it could be hard. So I say, I have tried to do that. It wasn't successful.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to make it successful. Um, like I was saying, I was a runner, but the reason why I tried to make it work is because I didn't want to fail and yet another
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And I felt I owe it to myself, and I owe
Mm-hmm.
this person, you know, alliance just because on the strength of something they may have done for me. But I don't owe anybody anything but honesty, loyalty, respect, and love.
Yes.
I owe everybody that,
Yeah.
Right. Right.
you know, but I don't have to give you any of those things if it's disturbing me in here. Peace.
Islam. I like to say that I look the word up to just be sure. Sometimes I like to relook things up to be
Mhm.
sure, and it's a relationship that has been infected and polluted, right? And so it's a two-way street. You can be kind and loving, but is is the other person that the relationship was ruined with willing to do the same thing? So you
Mhm.
just have to wish as you were saying, wish them well, and you move forward. You love and not demand love in return. That is what we being taught, you know.
Yes.
So I just wanted to add that it is a two-way street, and if it's been infected, I don't know what party played the infection, or maybe both parties. It's a two-way street, and so if there's going to be a rebuild, it have to be from both ends.
And let me also just say that we are to love and not demand love in return. It doesn't say we don't want it.
Right. Mhm.
Mhm. I was gonna say on that, sis, when you were defining tainted, sometimes, maybe you become hurt or betrayed. I'm thinking about it as I was
Mhm.
betrayed by someone. And I was trying to find the place where I can love that person. And sometimes, at least for me, I'm like an onion. I got layers, right? And it was like that person was just too close to my core to do that. And I know I need to love you, but clearly I can't trust you. I know I can't
Right.
use that word
Right.
is forget it
Mhm.
not, but
Mhm. Mhm.
somebody will probably remember where it is. But I had to move you back. I had to move them back into
Yeah.
a different relationship with this person
Yes.
to
Mhm.
protect me because I
Mhm.
could not let them do that again. And I didn't want to, everybody's going through their own situations.
Mhm.
And sometimes love means that I keep you at a distance and we do check-ins every other one. I just happen to see you. I
Right.
love you and I wish you the best for your journey. It doesn't mean though that I need to tell you all the things that were at that relationship. So when you ask that question about being tainted, how do you rebuild? To me, rebuild sounds like I got to make it exactly what it was. That's
Mm.
not what I do. That didn't
No.
to me, because you show me who you are. Now I have to adjust to say, okay, did that feel good? Did that not feel good? What was my responsibility? How can I own? Because it does take two. And then I got to figure out, okay, what does a new relationship boundaries look like?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
boundaries.
You rebuild around what is presented to you.
Yeah.
Sound like another
Have new
question.
information.
We have a question that matched with what you just said, Sister Ravenel, babe.
Before we get into the other question really quickly, I just wanted to say that also I think a part of it is communicating. Because a lot of times what will happen is someone has done something to us or offended us or, hurt us in a certain way. And a lot of times when we're hurt, we don't want to discuss it. We don't want to bring it up because it's like almost like, why would you even do that? Why would you even put me in that position? Like, you're even offended at the fact that they hurt you because you can't believe that they went to that level or did whatever it is that they did. But we have to remember that, first of all, man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. And so that strange part, we don't know where it's going to come from. Right. We don't know where it's going to come from. And there may be times when people don't even realize what they did or what they said, how it affected you. And so you have to have that conversation to say, listen, I love you. I honor you, but this is what occurred and this is how it made me feel. And this is how I'm choosing to approach it. If you don't have those type of conversations to let someone know exactly what it was, because see, a lot of times people want to pinpoint, well, what did I do? Well, what did I say? I didn't, maybe it wasn't their intentions, but at times we don't know the vibration that we're giving off. So I think you have to make a person aware of where the injury came from. I think that you have to go within self and say, whether they acknowledge it or not, it is my duty to forgive the injury. That is my duty. And the prophet lets us know that. So, with communicating, I just wanted to take a quick reading from page 36, chapter 26, Holy Instructions of Unity. And I'm going to just quickly read instruction 2, where he says, hath thee endowed thee with wisdom, hath he enlightened thy mind with the knowledge of truth, communicate it to the ignorant for their instruction, communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. So I think it's very important to have those conversations. And sometimes those conversations are going to be uncomfortable, but at times we have to become comfortable being uncomfortable, especially if it has to deal with you and how you deal with somebody and for your own perseverance, for your own mindset. You know what I mean? So I think that's truly important.
That's transformation.
Yeah, I really agree, because on the communication, I don't like to be mad. I'm not that type of person, right? So like if someone's bothering me, I'll come to you. What I've learned, because that's me, not everybody likes to communicate that way. So not everybody, it takes courage to have that level of truth. It takes courage. So because it's so icky and uncomfortable, it's hard for people to do that. And it requires reflection. The man, right? Because if I'm upset or frustrated, right, my first instinct usually is like, okay, I do like, how do I take responsibility for that? And then I got to sit back and think, okay, how did I contribute to this? And what did I do? What could I have done? And sometimes I have to realize like maybe this person didn't even know what they were doing. Maybe they had the wrong intention, but I owe that to them to tell them that. And what I find is really interesting, it's always uncomfortable to have those conversations. It's just people don't like that. They don't, people don't enjoy it, but it really is for the good. So it is, to me, it's a part of having a long distance healthy relationship, because if you're going to go long, you're going to have some difficulties. You got to. And the question to me is this relationship what I want on the long run? I want it for the full distance. I want you in my life for the full distance. We're going to go through some bumps.
Yes.
What I've experienced about being with communicating and being honest and open with how something made me feel is that it is rewarding. Now, there may be a what may appear to be a downfall if the person is not uh, receptive to what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
However, when that person does whatever they need to do to get to the next point for them, you've already made a stance of your point. You
Mm-hmm.
address the situation. And that alone, for me, that alone makes me feel good to stand up for me. I'm
That's
responsible
right.
for me.
That's right.
And I don't have to be mean or ugly about it when I address it because I'm not going to be mean and ugly about it because I want to be able to get through the person. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go to them with a sincere heart and say, hey, this thing you did to me, I didn't like the way it made me feel. I
Mhm.
appreciate it. Didn't do it again. Let's talk about how we can prevent this from taking place again. Like, is there something I need to do that we can do so this wouldn't happen? Just communicate and see what happens. But you owe it to yourself and the other person because I'm like this. I'm not taking away nobody's choices. I feel a
Mhm.
certain way. I want a certain thing. I'm gonna address it. You say yay or nay. That is your choice. I'm not taking away
Mm-hmm.
nobody's choices of how to move with me. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying? So
Right.
Can you
That
guys
brings us.
say,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying one last thought. You said a word that really, really resonated with me, sincerity. You
Mhm.
know, you can say anything to anybody. I remember someone telling me, they're like, you can tell somebody anything, but
Mhm.
it's how you say it. And
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you can say something with sincerity and love, it sounds very different. It
Yeah.
just does, you know. And so when you said that, I was like, that's how you that is part of it. And that's, I think it's hard, it's vulnerable, right? Because you have to be at a different place and you have to be open to hear it, but you got to be willing to do that in love, to say that.
that's right.
True. I was going to actually, because we were on the topic, but what does a healthy relationship look and feel like?
Peaceful.
Mhm.
It's
Less
peaceful.
drama.
Less
Less
drama.
drama.
It's respect on board.
Yes.
Sincerity,
Mhm.
and you can see the healthy conditions from a good friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can see it. It displays itself. But the main thing is trust. When we communicate with each other, we respect each other and understand who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We understand who we are. And I think trust is one of the biggest issues that some sisters or some of us struggle with. And I think we touched on that on our last show. Trusting
Mhm.
each other. So a
Yeah.
relationship does need a trust.
A trust. Yes.
It definitely does. I think that communication, as you all was saying, is one of the key factors.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
comprehension, because the prophet also talks about comprehending, you
Mhm.
know, comprehending things. And I think that's in social duties, you know, consider thy wants, and what do we want from this person? What do we
Mm,
expect from this
mm.
person? Are we able to just appreciate them for who they are, and in return? So I think trust, communication, and all the things
Yeah.
you all just noted.
Yeah.
Also, will say,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'll add to that. Every Allah gives everybody their portion of understanding. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, one
Mhm.
one of the things I love about different friendships I have is they're all different because
Mm.
I can see a portion of them that's different. I may not have that portion, but their understanding of things, their
Mhm.
interpretation of things, and the way that they bring a different point of view is beautiful. And I think to me that is when you are giving them the respect and honor to be themselves. To me,
Yes.
that's really healthy. When that person
Mhm.
is themselves
Mhm.
and there's love, there's no judgment, there's growth that's gonna happen, but
Mhm.
they can truly be themselves. And when you
True.
can be yourself,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
like to speak on that too because I know that to be in a friendship where you are accepted just for who you are and how you are, man, that is such a relief.
Yes.
Because I mean, I jumped through so many hoops growing up.
Mhm.
I've jumped through so many hoops.
Wow.
Um, some was just what I thought I needed to do or be to be accepted, or just simply just what was expected of me to be accepted by people. So, you know, when you finally come across people that they are totally like in awe of who you are and as you are and love you all for that.
That's right.
Man, that's just awesome. Like, and when I first experienced it, I didn't even really know how to even receive it.
Right.
Because I had jumped through so many hoops till I didn't know what was real. You know, so to finally get acquainted or come in the company of people that just, you know, Tracy, they just show you. They don't even have to tell you. You see it. I never even took the time to pause in friendships to even see if I was liked or accepted for me. I never waited long enough to see that. So it took me up until my adulthood to get to that point. And even as an adult, like I said, I struggled with that, with seeing it, because, or even receiving it and knowing that it was real and genuine, because I just didn't know what that was. So it took for people to explain, I'm not here. I'm with you. I'm not here to hurt you.
Right.
You know, and then their actions lined up with what they professed out their mouth to me. And, you know, to get that when you go so many years in your life not really knowing what that is, you know, that thing is awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, Britt Bay. So Britt Bay, you want to ask that question you have over there on your desk?
Oh, okay. Let me see which one I want to go with. Give me 1 second, please, everybody. Okay, I'll go with what is your relationship with God like?
Ooh, good question. Come on, T. Hopkins, babe.
Yes, I like this question.
I saw the
I like this question.
Yes.
Man, let me tell you something. From the time I can remember, I've had a relationship with God. I may have called him something different when I was younger, but Allah knows best. And now I know, you know, Allah has many names, but praise Allah. With my relationship with God is I can be wholeheartedly myself. Wholeheartedly myself. And that's a blessing, because see, you got to remember that Allah knows your thoughts, but even before you have them. So therefore, Allah is going to guide you. Allah is going to guide what happens to you. Allah is going to, you know, guide those thoughts. Allah is going to guide you. And to have that relationship where, for instance, if I know my thought that I'm having may not be on the highest vibration, to go to him and say, Allah, please work with me to remove these difficult thoughts, please. I don't know what else to call them, but them difficult thoughts. Because we know there are thousands of thoughts that run through our mind in a day. And so just to have that is so deep, because see, the people you in front of, they don't know your thoughts. You know, you ever had like a facial expression and somebody be like, you all right? And I be like, yeah. And you got to check yourself. That's Allah reminding you to check yourself. You know, so man, praise Allah. It's a beautiful thing to know Allah. It is a beautiful thing. And that is something that no matter what your station is on this physical plane, nobody can take from you.
That's right.
Nobody can take that away from you.
No. That's right.
Praise Allah.
Yes.
My relationship with him is of course, with Allah, is that there's no one I trust more. Of course not. But I literally sit in here and talk with him. And if I have an unhealthy thought, as Sister Hopkins Bay was speaking of, I say, Mm,
Right.
please forgive me for that thought. You
Right.
know I ain't.
Mhm.
You know me. You know I
Mhm.
ain't right all the time. Help me work on that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I mean,
Mhm.
that's just how I talk to him because
Right.
I'm his. He know me, so I just go to him like I would go to anybody. Well, not anybody. I go to him like I go to him.
Yeah.
Um, over the years, it has. I remember in '06, when he rescued me from myself. I would find the gratitude, and I guess the smallest things. Like I would be getting ready for work or something. There was a or for a meeting. There was a particular pair of socks that I wanted to wear, and I
Mhm.
say, God, please help me find these socks. And I would move the next item, and then they would be right there, right? And that happened all the time. And it
Mhm.
allowed me to build my trust and it allowed me to go to him more, all just because I asked to help me find some socks.
Mhm.
It started small like that for me.
Mhm.
Um, and now I just go to him, about every and anything. The the main thing I have to go to him about is to asking him to allow me to sit still, allow me to represent him, allow me to only speak what's needed to be spoken. Because sometimes I can really go from 0 to 100 in a matter of moments, and I am still working on that. And I've asked him to help me. I've asked him to work with me on that, and that's almost every day. I have to ask him to
Mhm.
help me work with that. So, um, in time, I trust him in time that I'll get there if I do the work.
There's a lot.
Peace.
That's right.
I
Peace.
like to I like to add that what I've learned, even thinking I know when I was a child who God was it activated in me the actions of God? Was it present? So it's a process of growing. And
Mhm.
so now I understand that I am functioning the way that I function because of my awareness of Allah, the incomprehensible. I know, like we were all saying earlier, my thoughts are known before they are made, my actions and deeds. And so to know thyself in Allah is what it says in our Quran when you first open up in all caps, period. You know how
Mhm.
we always say something in period at the end? Know thyself in Allah, period. We know that that is a great task to have a relationship with Allah, but sometimes we don't know whether we have one. And as Great Ale was saying, she said she'd find her socks. I smiled because I would ask Allah for certain things. Like when I was a child, I was afraid that, I didn't want my mom to die when I was a child. I had a lot of friends who didn't have a mother. That was devastating to me. I looked at them as being alone. And so I was always that friend that packed little lunch bags for them, like, get some candy, just real motherly at a very young age. And so I say that to say that my mother didn't leave me till I became an adult. But what I didn't ask was, please make sure my siblings were grown as well. I was the only adult. So I thought about that for many years, like, okay, if I ask this way, I'm careful now what I ask for because it affects something else. We ask for things, but we don't realize it affects something else. So that's how I know my relationship with Allah is I understand it better as I get older, and especially that we met the prophet and have these divine instructions. And so we're pounding these lessons in, trying to be better, more loving, because if we're not that way, that is not pleasing to Allah. It's a practice. We have to practice how to love instead of hate, and if we use these tools, it's always a better outcome. So I learned to respond to my sisters better. I'm firm on what I say and what I do. I try to be that. And if it's not that way, a friend will say, Sister Berry Bay. A friend will say, Sister Berry Bay, that didn't come off that way. But a foe is going to go to someone else and say, you know what Sister Berry Bay did?
Mm.
So we have to be more trusting in each other the way we trust Allah because Allah is a man.
That's right.
I say peace.
Mm-hmm.
Islam, I have a question. What are the different types of friendships you have?
I think I'm sorry, was somebody about to go?
You go ahead.
I think you have true friendships. I think you have relationships that are you're just acquainted with certain people. I think you have sisterhoods. I think you have bonds with different people. So to me, I think it depends on the individual, and it depends on how you deal with each individual person. You know what I mean? Because it could be a relationship with, you know, your mother, you know, you're her child. It could be, you know, you being a mother to children, or it could be, you know, you just being someone who is there for people when they're going through something.
Right.
You may not necessarily burden them with what you may be going through because you're always that go-to person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think there's many different relationships, many different.
I agree with you, sis. When I think about it, I think of it as like, you know, not a relationship starts at the same level, you know, because you meet maybe on different circumstances and you kind of unfold with time. And as you have time and circumstances, the relationship has the opportunity to continue to grow and blossom, you know.
Right.
The prophet says, you know, when man, help me out, when man unfolds as God unfolds, right? Like when I think about my relationship with Allah, it's continuing to grow, because the more I grow in my practice, I get to continue to see a different side and learn and grow with Allah. I feel like it's the same with individuals. All you beautiful sisters, we have, I mean, let's go back 2 months. It's grown and it's unfolded, and it's because we have the ability to have time and moments together and honesty, and that can, all the things we said that builds that healthy relationship. So I think there are different types, and as it gets deeper, it gets closer because you're just unveiling more of yourself.
You know, Sister Ravenel Bay, I learned from an anthropologist, Sister Dana Mornichi, that we are all together because we are here to finish a task that we didn't finish before. We're returning to, you know, we're together because of the relationships that we didn't fix in our past lives. And so this time we have to get it right. You know, we have to be better than we was before, else we're going to return to this again. You know, so I like what you said about relationships. It takes time to build them, but they're not new. You don't have new enemies. You know, this is all past life experiences from your ancestors, your ancient forefathers. You know, when whoever you were fighting with before, you're fighting with again. And so Allah puts us together so that we can be tested on how we're going to deal with it this time. How are we going to treat each other? Are we still going to debase ourselves? Because that's what we're doing when we're demeaning or mean to our sisters and brothers. So we have to be better in order to build a better relationship. So thank you for that thought, Ravenel Bay.
Yeah,
go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say to receive and confer reciprocal help, right?
Yes.
So, like, we're here together for some reason. Somehow you next to that person, right? And to me, it's like, okay, what am I giving, right? Because we should be coming from, how is this, there's something that we're learning or giving from each other. It's not all physical, right? It could be mental. Right. It could be helping us grow and learn in different parts. Go ahead, Sister Brightback.
Oh, no, I was getting ready to bring on the next question.
Go ahead.
So my next question is going to be, what do you like most about your relationship with God? And I'll kick it off because I wanted to answer and respond to the last one. But this one, let me say, I've been over here, my legs shaking, I got the fan on, because that question alone about your relationship with him and what you like most about it, emotional I am, because I can think of 1,000 things that I love about my relationship with Allah. And one thing is I can totally be me. I like the fact that as he unfolds, I'm learning more about me.
That's right.
For so long, I just simply didn't know who I was. And today, I can actually look in the mirror and say, I love you. I fool with you. You are, yeah. And I'm not saying that in a conceited way. I'm talking about the inside of Tracy.
Yeah.
Come on, Tracy.
That's right.
Come on, Britt Bay.
The more my insides are being revealed, the more I can see him. The more I appreciate him and love him so much for showing me, for being honest with me about me, for having me to focus on me. I came through life looking at people, places, and things all my life. And I was just so thrown out of whack to the point that I did not even know who I was. I come to the Moorish Temple of America and they taught me. The Quran is teaching me about me, telling me who I am, whose I am, where I come from.
That's right.
And to get that kind of wisdom is so beautiful. Like I really can't explain it, and excuse my emotion because
it's all right.
It just makes life so much easier when you know where you come from.
That's
when
right.
you know who you really belong to.
That's right.
And he has all the power in the world to give and make whatever happen for Tracy.
That's right.
All those hoops I jumped through, I didn't have to. So guess what he tell me today? No longer. You ain't got to jump through no hoops in this relationship.
It is finished.
No more hoops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just be who you are, even when I'm in my low thoughts. And he's correcting me. I feel the love in the correction.
That's right.
I feel it, man. And it's like, I can go to him. I can talk about things that I might not be comfortable with sharing with y'all. I might not even be comfortable sharing with my best friend. I can talk to him because he already knows.
That's right.
He already know what I struggle with, what I still struggle with, that just wears me down.
Right.
But I love the fact that regardless of how much I struggle with one thing or many things, his love don't change for me.
It's not.
Whereas though with people, it's no guarantee. They might like me today and can't stand me tomorrow, or not even like my ways. But with Allah, man, he say, bring it. I got you.
That's right.
That's
he
right.
got me. So, my relationship with him is everything.
Yes.
Everything. When I'm cutting grass, that's all I think about. When I'm by myself, that's all I think about. When I'm amongst people, it's what I think about. He has a way of just coming into my thought process throughout my days. So I don't know. It's so much I can say, and I ain't gonna take a whole lot of time on that, but that's just a question where I could talk forever in a day. You want to rap? We can rap about that forever in a day.
That's right.
I'm told I talk too much, but don't get me started on that right there. I don't know. Shut up. Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful, Sister Britt Bay. Thank you for sharing that.
It's long.
It really was beautiful.
It's long.
So we have another question, right, sisters?
Yeah, I'll ask this one if y'all okay with it.
Sure.
Because this is one of my favorite things. So, do you set boundaries in your relationships? And if so, what boundaries are you lenient about, if all? Sister Berry Bay, you fading.
Oh. I don't know why I'm here. What happened?
Come closer to the camera. Come closer.
It's not the camera though. It really isn't.
I don't know why she did look faded. Your question on boundaries. Okay, so I'm just gonna go there. When you said that, I think about you. You do such a really good job with boundaries, Sister Grill. I remember when we first met you. You like, okay, don't call me past blank o'clock. I was like, it's okay. Y'all remember that? And I'm on the I'm on the West Coast. I was like, what time is that? I was like, I can't call her past 5 p.m. my time. So in your name it says, sister, do not call past 5 p.m. Great ear, right? Because I don't want to make a mistake. So I think you do a really good job. And I'm taking a page from you on that.
I concur.
Right. Yeah. Because I will say, I'm learning on setting boundaries. That's something that I'm always working on, even for my family, right? Setting boundaries and things that they can push or get away, or setting firmness around it. Because my first instinct is, you need me, okay, I'm gonna come in, to a detriment, right? Where I've, where it's depleted me, so that I haven't, and I realized that probably about 3 years ago, it really hit me, where I was just feeling like maxed out. And someone said, it was like, you don't ever feel your well. And it mentally makes sense,
right?
But I never physically felt it, because I felt like my job was to be there for everybody. And so I'm learning that. To be honest, I can't say that I do a really great job. I'm learning to figure out what it is. And the first thing was like, I need my sleep. And to that, right? Like my phone, it just shuts off at certain times. So you just can't get that access to me all the time. I feel like, I feel like it's my duty to always be there. And so yeah, but I thought about you, sister. When you said that's a great question for you. You got to teach a master class on that one.
Already know. Yeah, I already know. Sister Hopkins, babe, what you think about that, sister?
I feel the same way. Like, I'm learning how to create some boundaries. Because I think there was a certain point where I was too lenient with people. I will say this. This is one of my major boundaries. Do not bring strangers to my home, especially if you are coming unannounced. Don't bring strangers, please.
Definitely.
My home is my safety net for my children. And I feel like that's just out of respect. It's nothing, it may not be anything against, a family member or anything like that, but it's just out of respect. Like, you got to let someone know what's going on, what they get ready to have to entertain. But I would say also, in dealing with relationships with people, one of my main boundaries is speak the truth, be sincere at all times. That's one of the things that, like, I'm very, very hard on my children with. I'm very, very hard on my employees with. I'm very hard with anybody I deal with. Like, please keep it real. As we say in Philly, keep it 100. Don't falsify anything. The prophet told us to, speak the truth, even if it's against yourself. So it's like, you can't be out here doing some things that's not right, and then you gonna switch it around on somebody. Like, that's not good. And so that's one of my main boundaries. But I love what Sister Greer did. Like, sis, I can't wait to be on that type time. That's like, please don't call me after 8 o'clock. My phone is gonna be off. Don't knock on, better yet, don't knock on the door after 8 o'clock. I can't wait to go through that. And so when you said that, that was just like, dang, that's like real. Like, I felt that. I felt when she said that. But it was to me, it was respect, because you got to respect what someone needs. Right. And the fact that she was saying, like, I got to take time for me, I was like, I love that. As sisters, as women, as all the different turbans that we wear, we often forget to take time for ourselves. Sometimes we need that mental break. We need a moment to clear things up, to think about things, just to be, I think I put on Facebook this morning, I had a few minutes this morning to meditate. That was amazing. And I needed that. Right. Just to sit and talk with Allah for, I think it was like 10 minutes. I needed that.
That's good.
just to
That's
get
right.
my mind focused and in
Mhm.
order of what I needed to do today. So,
Praise the
you know,
Lord.
high honors to you, Sister Greer Ill, for stating that before, and honors to you for holding true to what you need. And I think we can all learn from that.
Oh, yes.
We can
Mhm.
all learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Praise
It's
Allah.
Praise Allah.
I just have to say that I wasn't always this way. I wasn't always in the save some for me mode, you know, because too, like Sister Reverend Bay, I had to be there for everybody. How dare I not show up for nobody? Who am I to think about me and my needs and what I need? You know, it's okay if you fall asleep at your cash register while somebody is trying to order something. You had to stay up and and go see about this person and that person, that person. I felt bad when I didn't show up for somebody, and it wore me down. And a lot of funny dude, you know, and there came a point where I didn't have no choice but to sit down. Right? I got hurt on my last job. So in that moment, after years of begging for peace of mind, a lighter heart, lift the weight off my shoulder, allow me to not consume all the things that that thought of affliction wounding deeper than the affliction itself. Allow me to be, not that to play a major role in my life. Not saying that it doesn't take place, but my God, I was consumed like that with those types of thoughts. And it started off with brothers. I figured that the sun is up for a good amount of hours, right? And you have until the sun go up to the sun go down to pick up the phone. If you're not my
I
man,
like that, sis.
let
I
me just
like
say that. You're not my man, my daddy, or my son,
That's
or my
right.
brother, like my blood brother, then if whatever you needed to say to me now, you probably should have said it before the sun went down. So it started like that when not allowing brothers who I was not in a relationship with to call me after 8 o'clock because I just found it disrespectful. Those are, can I get with you hours? I'm gonna just say it like that. In my mind, what you calling for? So I think that people have this mindset that because they're up, other people are up too. So they'll call or they'll text. Like I got like 3 texts this morning before 8 o'clock, and I was like, yeah, like what's wrong with people? So I set boundaries because health reasons, sleep deprived because of the health reasons, and just simply because that's what I choose for my life. Like before 9:30, please don't call me. After 8 p.m., don't call me unless it's an emergency because I have to save some for me. I just said it. I'm responsible for me, right? I love the me time I have. I love and cherish the fact that I can finally sit with myself, sit in my own skin, and be okay. Because there was a time I would dread coming home at night and be in my home by myself. Now when I'm out, I be fantasizing about coming home to be by myself and have me some Haagen-Dazs and watch Law and Order or Heat of the Night or whatever the case may be.
That's
you
my
know,
show.
and
Praise
and
Allah.
and I feel good about it because I was a person who, I was screaming on the inside. I had so many people, a whole organization in my head. You know what I'm saying? Just telling me this, saying that, doing this and doing that. Now it didn't quiet down, and I'd like it to stay that way. So boundaries. And I'm with Sister Reverend off Bay. Sister Hopkins Bay as well. Please don't pop up at my house. You will get your feelings hurt. No, seriously. You can get your feelings. You don't just pop up at people's house. You don't know what's going on, and whatever you do, don't bring somebody with you. So
Islam. I want to add that for me, the boundaries that I set is my circle. I try to set boundaries for a healthy circle. Because when you have healthy people around you, they think different and they can help you be productive, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to categorize because you got to, instead of being judgmental, you can help this person in a different way, but you got to set boundaries for a healthy circle so that you can help in the uplifting program of fallen humanity. So I set boundaries. I like to keep a healthy circle, if you will.
That's fine.
Praise Allah. Sister Brooke Bay, I think it's time for our announcements.
Announcement. Yep.
Okay. Conversation ended up quick. I gotta say, I really love this conversation.
Yes, I
This
did.
is great.
We got to pick this up. Yes.
It's long. So please stay tuned tomorrow in 2 weeks for the next episode of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. To learn more about the Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc., please attend our Friday Holy Day meetings every Friday at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday School Quran class every Sunday at 2 p.m. on our national Facebook page. We really appreciate you guys joining us again for another episode of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Peace.
Peace.